Hi, it's Suzanne from www.eft-scripts.com, and a lot of you have written to me and asked me how I tap when I run or when I do yoga, when I do exercise. And to me, especially with my chest, because it's a big problem on the left side of my chest, sometimes I don't have a choice but to go through the pain barrier. Now, of course, you've got to ask your GP if you want to go through something like the pain barrier, because it's different for different people. Some people shouldn't be going past that. I just happen to know that I can do it safely. However, it is sometimes very challenging and very difficult for me to break through those barriers and get to where I want. And I know some of you have written to me who don't have a problem whatsoever, you know, are in perfect health, but you would just like to know how I do it. And it's really very simple. What I do is I rub the finger points together. That's my most favorite one. It's rubbing the finger points together, and I'll show you how I do it. It's rubbing this finger point, rubbing this one, rubbing the baby finger. Where is it? There it is. Yeah. Or I rub the gamut point. I kind of rub the gamut point. It depends. If I'm running, I can't have my hands together, obviously. But I go like this as I run, or like this. It's the easiest one to do when you're running, because it allows you freedom of movement while you're doing it, and you're still kind of fairly aerodynamic, but you're tapping. And so that's my favorite way of tapping. Also, intention has a lot to do with it. If you intend that when you're tapping just at one point, you're going to release, it would really help you. And what do I say is also another one that I get questions on. Really, what I say to myself is the sort of things that we all say to ourselves. For example, yesterday I did my first ever, I don't know if it was a 3-kilometer run, because I didn't have a pedometer or whatever it is that you use to measure the distance. I'm new to running, and you know, but I knew the distance. I had measured it on a map, and it was either 3K or just under. So just for simplicity's sake, I'm going to call it 2.5 to 2.75, so that I know I've done something like that. It was non-stop running, absolutely non-stop. I was running slow, but I did it non-stop. And you know, after the first 4 minutes, I just felt like caving in and giving in altogether. When I came up to nearly 11 minutes, I just thinking, well, you know what, this isn't a long run day, you know, in my program, so I don't need to do this. But I just thought, yeah, I really want to do this. I want to feel good about myself. I want to do this. You know, and so I kept tapping, like, I don't want to fail. These are the things that I was saying to myself. I don't want to fail. I was saying also things. See, when you're running, when you're in the moment, when you're in a yoga pose, for example, when you're lifting a weight, can you imagine yourself lifting a challenging weight and telling yourself, even though that doesn't quite cut it. You know, when you're in the moment, you need something quick, sharp, easy, and not too negative. So and what I do is I mix negatives and positives. So, for example, I imagine there's this voice talking to me, and it's saying, "You can do it," and then I'm replying, "No, I can't. No, I can't." And it's also with the breathing, the way I'm breathing. I breathe in as I say, "You can do it," a few times, and I breathe out as I can say, "No, you can't," or I breathe in as I say, "No, you can't," or I breathe out as I say, "Yes, you can." So it gives it a rhythm. When you're doing something that is exercise, it's sometimes helpful to get into a rhythm. So I get into a rhythm, and so it's like, yes I can, yes I can, no I can't, no I can't, yes you can, yes you can, no I can't, no I can't, I will fail, no you won't, you haven't failed before, yes I will, this is the time to fail, you know I won't. And you know, all these different opposite thoughts come into my mind, and as they do, I allow them, and I tap, and I give them a rhythm. So for example, I might be running again. It's the rhythm of the feet on the pavement or on the asphalt or wherever I'm running, and the rhythm of one leg after another going like this, and I go, okay, 8 more minutes, 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 and you know, and as I do that, I'm tapping 8 more minutes, 8 more minutes, 8 more minutes, and before I know that, I've looked at my watch, and I've got 6 more minutes left, and that's wonderful. Sometimes I look at my watch, and it's still 8 minutes and 40 seconds left, and I think, my God, you know, where did all this time come from? You know, and it's interesting because that's what happened yesterday. My speed improved, and I did the distance in less time than I expected. Not as little time as I wanted, but in less time than I expected. And as I was nearing the end, I could see other runners overtaking me, and so I was tapping even though everyone's overtaking me, and that I felt so bad about it. I actually added a very emphatic in my mind. I was shouting, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though everybody's overtaking me, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And that's how I got through it until, you know, when I see another runner, I would start running a little bit faster because my pride would not allow me to be just the slowest one out there. However, it did really help to should I say rub rather than tap when I'm exercising, because it's easier to rub as well as being less conspicuous. And excuse me, I was rubbing as I was thinking of how ashamed I was of being the last one, because people were overtaking me left, right and center. Even a couple that were running together, and they were between them pushing a buggy of their baby, and I just thought, oh my God, you know, where does that leave me? But I know where it leaves me. I'm still a beginner. I'm somebody who's had 23 years of illness, and you know, it's fine. If I don't want to come last in that half marathon. I really do not want to be the last one to come in. I think that would totally destroy me. That would be destroying me a bit, because I wouldn't mind if I'm the last, the second last one. That would be kind of nice. But anything apart from the very last person to come through that race would be fine by me. This is my first attempt, and it's one of many, and I'm really, really proud of my progress so far. So hopefully this has been helpful to you. If you want any more hints to come regularly through your inbox, subscribe to my newsletter at www.eft-scripts.com, or here on the form that will pop up here. Thank you so much. Actually, the form doesn't pop up here. I'm just getting confused. I'm so excited talking to you. There's a form somewhere underneath that you will see, and so that's the form that you'll fill in. There's also another form that pops up, but that's for another newsletter. Anyway, thank you so much, and I shall speak